Alright, so I'm planning to make a series of Halloween themed videos throughout the month of October, and while trying to find the worst horror game, I found the worst horror game, but not for the reason you're thinking of. It's a bad game, sure, but there's a lot of layers to this onion, and I couldn't resist making a video talking about it. Depending on your YouTube algorithm, this is a game that you have never heard of. I am almost 100% certain of. This isn't something I pulled out of my ass. It is a real game, and it's a game called Spooky Men, and it retails for $200. Of course, that's after deflation, and this is where I went down a bit of a rabbit hole. It was priced at $100,000 at one point, but even still, the developer must have realized the power of Spooky Men, and came to the logical conclusion that any sane person would, if they were missing their frontal lobe, that he was actually underselling it. The price didn't match the quality. He needed to charge more for it. This isn't another FNAF title. This is Spooky Men, for heaven's sake. So, he made the logical decision. He then raised the price of Spooky Men to $1 million. At $1 million for a video game, that shit better be coming with a goddamn One Piece. Like, this better come with some life-altering content. If I don't fire up Spooky Men and instantly get taller, more attractive, and with an entourage of harems, then what's the point? It's basically a scam. $1 million, these Spooky Men better come out of my computer screen and actually suck my cock. As advertised, these men are spooky. Let's take a look at the description and see what it's all about. Maybe it's worth paying between $100,000 to $1 million for, and we should be grateful that he's basically giving it away for free, charging us only $200 now. Spooky Men is an online 1 to 8 player cooperative survival horror game. Complete task and exorcise the malevolent demon. Use your wits to distract ghosts and survive its attacks as you explore the haunted property. Can you make it out alive? Finally, an innovative horror game that has it all. Demons, ghosts, 1 to 8 player co-op. Really, you'll never need another game once you buy Spooky Men. Which is great because you'll probably never be able to afford one once you empty your entire piggy bank buying Spooky Men. Now, I'm sure you're just foaming at the mouth wondering what makes Spooky Men so great. And the answer is nothing. Nothing at all. This is just another low-effort, asset flip piece of garbage that is a dime a dozen on Steam that got pseudo-popular off the sheer meme of it. Whether or not it's the worst game ever is really up for debate, but one thing that's not is that it is the most expensive game ever released. It's not even a competition, it's by a large margin. The second most expensive game prior to its price change was $2,000, which is still an outrageous price for a fucking video game, but extraordinarily cheaper when compared to Spooky Men. Now, the article states that upon release, Spooky Men was priced at 59 cents, which probably explains where most of these reviews came from. I don't think anyone's willing to dump $1 million on a video game or even $100,000, except for this guy who says, "I'm rich." This madman the maniac may have actually dumped his life savings on Spooky Men because this review was posted at the time it was priced at $100,000, so there is a chance that he dumped all of his money for the sake of a meme review. Obviously, he requested a refund. Nobody's going to buy Spooky Men and not want one, except for a couple of idiots who got taken by the demon and have been playing Spooky Men for over 1,000 hours. Which brings us to our next talking point. Is this game a scam? Probably. If it was still marketed at $100,000, there'd be not a shadow of doubt. However, while $200 is still a ridiculous price for an asset flip, there are people who buy crap like this for the sake of a meme. This coming from somebody who spent $200 on an earthquake simulator for a meme review. Though most people who buy it for the meme play it once, then never touch it again. 1,000 hours playing a video game is not uncommon, sure, but for Spooky Men? Once again, there is a chance there are a few gamers who are addicted to Spooky Men like a junkie is to crack, but realistically, I think these are just bots the developer bought in order to drum up hype. It's a year old, and it's not an open world game. I don't think anyone would play this game for more than a few hours. I really don't. The only thing left to wonder, I guess, is why were they charging $100,000 or up to $1 million at one point? Well, from everything I could find, it initially seemed like it was a way of putting it out of everyone's price range so that nobody would accidentally buy it. It is an early access game for some reason, so maybe the developer didn't want people to buy it till it was finished, and by charging hundreds of thousands of dollars, it meant he could work on it without receiving negative feedback or having to take it off the Steam marketplace. And it might have worked from everything I could find. A year after its release, Spookymen has mostly positive reviews on Steam, assuming of course these aren't just trolls leaving a positive review as a joke, or aforementioned bots the developer bought in order to make it seem like Spookymen is worth buying. I really think that was the initial goal, but now he has the price set to $200, and now I think the goal is really out of greed. There's a really great video from a YouTuber named Bananadev who dives into how much money a successful game actually makes on Steam. I'll link the video in the description, but to summarize, he made a game that was met with great success and showcases his entire analytics from how it worked to how much he made on Steam, which was less than profitable. The reason why I mention this is because it's really hard to turn over a profit from developing a game, especially on Steam. Again, go watch Bananadev's video for a more in-depth explanation, but because of factors such as Steam's cut along with taxes, it's very hard to make a profitable game as an indie developer. It's why games such as Lethal Company are revolutions in the gaming industry, because not only were they able to make a good game that challenged the norm, but it wasn't a net loss as their profits were tremendous. They made more than Tom Cruise did in Top Gun Maverick. Spookymen is not Lethal Company, however, and will never be. So the only way the developer will even have an iota of a chance at making a profit is by charging an extraordinarily high price for the game and hoping that people who bought Spookymen play it for more than 2 hours or forget to refund it entirely. I want to make it clear, I have not played Spookymen, nor have any intentions of doing so. Everything I've talked about is just speculations based on my own research. It doesn't take a genius to use common sense and determine that Spookymen is not a great game, and certainly not worth paying $200 for general admission. No game is. I don't know anything about the actual contents of the game, and never will so long as they continue to charge more than a Happy Meal. The only thing Spookymen has to offer is a joke, and the reviews show it. Nobody cares about the actual game, they just care about the meme of it being the most expensive game. Which it might not even hold the title of, so long as Steam doesn't put a price cap on its games. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about this because I believe this is the worst horror game ever made. And even if it isn't, it's certainly the most expensive game I've ever seen, and that's not something anyone should be proud of. There's no game on the planet that's worth paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for, and it shouldn't even be possible to charge this much for garbage. At the very least, let's use this to uplift your spirits if you're someone who wishes to develop your own horror game. It can't be worse than Spookymen, so long as you sell it at a reasonable price. That's really about it. So,